it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We're zooming in and focusing in a little bit more in depth in terms of how to understand and comprehend and spot the traits or experiences of being in a relationship with a narcissist or a psychopath. And I do have the hiccups a little bit, so hopefully those will resolve by the end of this video, but I do want to press onward. And before we get started today, I just want to give a super huge shout out to those of you who have recently donated to the channel. Thank you so much. It is great to hear from you, and thank you so much for your support. It is really viewers like you that keep me showing up to the plate and producing new content that is relevant and resonating, and is so good to hear that it's really hitting home. So thank you so much. It's great to hear from you. Thank you for your generosity. And absolutely positively, if the channel and your viewership experiences has been a positive resource, please do feel free to participate at the Donate Now button here on the Peace and Harmony channel. You can give whatever denomination or value this has been to you. I do have a lot of viewers who ask if I can advise them what denomination or like where to like put the tab. Unfortunately, I don't know how to move the tab into the video itself. And it's really whatever donation you feel that represents your value. So thank you so much for your inquiries and your donations. So we're zooming in and focusing in, despite the hiccups, as to how to sort of understand the traits or the red flags and experiences of a narcissist or a psychopathic relationship. And particularly I want to focus in and zoom in on is that of self-sabotaging, self-annihilating, sort of self-sacrificing behaviors that come as a result of this relationship. In self-sabotaging, I mean really sort of self-destructive, not in your best interest, not really what is going to take you in the direction of your purpose, the direction of your support, the direction of your best evolution. And what really do I mean by that? In other words, someone, because of their pathological self-importance, or what you need to do to, even the playing field, or reduce the feeling of indebtedness that you feel that this person creates. Oftentimes this can create an experience of self-sabotage and self-denial, emotional denial, not recognizing early in the relationship that you deserve more or you deserve respect, that it's very difficult for you to identify and make those exchanges, those conversations happen. And the feeling of self-sabotage and self-denial means that you have to over-obligate yourself. You have to shut yourself down in order for the other person to thrive. You have to self-deny, in other words, for the person to get the limelight, to get the spotlight, to be in that center stage all the time. Now, healthy relationships are typified by balance. In other words, they ask questions about you. How are you doing? How are you feeling? What's new with you? What happened during your day? Let's catch up. What's going on with your job, or what's going on with the kids? There's a shared airtime. There's a shared FaceTime. There's a give and take. Yet in the relationship with a narcissist, it's usually all give and no receiving. It's all about them and not about you. And in order to keep that plate spinning in the air, you have to oftentimes self-negate or violate your own boundaries and your own standards in order for it to perpetuate. But they will cause you, through things that they say and do, or not say and not do, that keep you in this blindsided position. In other words, you know, they'll say things in order to keep you in the down position, to keep you in the provider position. If you're a male, the partner or the significant other may state that, you know, well, you know, a man would do this, or a man would provide. A man wouldn't need that. A man would be always giving. You know, and they'll play on your manliness. Or likewise, the female. You know, the female should always be giving. You should always be loving. You should always give to your man. If you really loved me, you would do this. You'd go out of your way. You wouldn't mind me doing this. You wouldn't mind me talking to other females. You know, there's this distortion of reality. There's this gaslighting. You know, playing innocent when they're not innocent. I was just talking to her, yet, you know, he was clearly flirting. It's this self-sacrifice and self-denial, which then is a huge indicator and red flag that you are in a relationship with a narcissist or a psychopath or an unhealthy, dysfunctional relationship where it has to be all about them, never about you. And that's what is called for the relationship to continue. In other words, it always has to be them first. It's never you first. It always has to be focused on what's good and happy and celebratory about them. And that celebration energy is not given back to you. There is not a give and take in a relationship with a narcissist or a psychopath. It's all about you following in their, you know, in their glory, following in their dust, you know, following in their limelight, and you're not giving in return or receiving in return. In other words, you're not given a chance to participate in the same way. You're not given the chance to share your true feelings when you notice that things are getting out of balance. You're not able to have a comfortable exchange, you know, when you're trying to call them out. In other words, when you're trying to call for balance, in order for the narcissist or psychopath to keep their, you know, upward position, to keep their superior position, to keep their self-interest being flagellated or fanned, if you will, to keep it propagated or supported, you must continue the self-denigration. You must continue the self-sacrifice. You must keep the quiet. You must keep the secrets. You must not express your dissatisfaction, because to do so would mean that you're bothered by their glory, by their importance, by, you know, their upper hand. And so then you get smacked down. You know, you're considered to bite the hand that feeds you. And then you become a sort of feeling that this creates then a feeling of being indebted. So there's this, you know, guilt situation where if you are not, you know, self-denying or self-deprecating or self-sacrificing and, you know, of yourself, then there's something inherently wrong with you. And then you begin to empty yourself even more and more emotionally for this person, for the relationship to continue. And so, you know, it's then again based on conditions. In other words, you know, you can't stay in the relationship unless you agree to these terms of imbalance. You can't stay in the relationship unless you know, continue to keep the hurt, you know, going. In other words, you can't stay in the relationship unless you oblige by their conditions. I will only, you know, you can only stay in the relationship if. It's based on all of these what ifs. It's based on if, you know, if you only are who I want you to be. In other words, it is the narcissist and the psychopath who are telling you who to be in the relationship, and you are not permitted to be yourself. You're not permitted to be authentic. You're not permitted to be your genuine self. It is not a permittable experience. So you can't be who you are. You must then develop a facade of falseness, or a facade of happiness, or a facade of tolerance, or a facade of just going along with the relationship. So especially if you're in a marriage, then you oftentimes see the withdrawal, or the putting up, or just, you know, the quiet, you know, passive, you know, just doing as you are told. So in other words, you just, because you don't want to experience a loss in the relationship, a break in the relationship, a rage in the relationship, that sort of punishment, you then begin just to then sacrifice who you are at the authentic level, at the divine level, at the true life truth level, that truth, you know, I am sensing this, your intuition, your instinct, your internal emotional guiding system, which is like going off, you know, recalculate, or, you know, recalibrate, you know, when the GPS goes off and recalculating. So your internal guiding system is setting, you know, telling you, whoa, get back on path, back on path, but you keep going off road. You keep going in what I call the direction of negative, orderly direction, thinking, feeling, and behaving. You're going down. I mean, your life can still continue, but you're spiraling downward. You know, you're not able to be happy. You're not able to communicate. You're not able to have your needs met. You're not able to have the eye contact. You're not able to receive the same importance and validation. You're not able to, you know, have a peaceful and harmonious and functional environment. You're feeling like you're always having to comply with this person's demands. You're always having to assimilate according to their standards, and your standards don't mean anything. Your needs don't mean anything. Your needs are irrelevant. They are superfluous. You know, this is the crazy making. You know, why would you need, why would you need for me to stop? Why would you need for me to call you? You know, be a man, be a woman. You know, why should you need this? So your needs are put into question. And then so you go, whoa, well, maybe this person is smarter than me. Maybe this person is more important than me. So I should just shut up. I should just do whatever. And this becomes then a path of weakness and self-betrayal. What I call self-abandonment. You're having to reward another and self-abandon. You're having to then make another and live to satisfy another's needs, which then becomes the new normal. Yet this becomes self-denial. And so it's very important for you to know and understand what boundaries are and what they feel like. In other words, it's saying, you know, hey, I'm picking up on something here. I am important. You know, this is me and I'm going to do this. You know, this is me and I feel uncomfortable with this. You know, I am not comfortable, you know, with this decision of yours. You know, I'm not comfortable with this treatment. I am not comfortable with this. So you're expressing your discomfort, and it's not only what you say, it's how you say it. So it's saying, you know, hey, wow, is my, I'm speaking I'm speaking English here. I'm speaking, I'm noticing this. Hey, it's, in case, in case you didn't notice, I would like this, so you're basically speaking your awareness into the relationship. And only when you do that can you shake up the energy and shake off their abuse. You really need to get it out of your system. And someone had told me that massagers who work on people a lot, they're advised to shake it off like this and shake that energy out of their system. So you need to get that toxicity out. You need to be able to shake it off. You need to shake off their energy. Literally flick it out of your system. Especially through the hands, because your hands are great receivers of energy. The open planes of your body are great, receivers of energy. Likewise, if you feel it's in the back of your head, you might need to clear your aura in this way. Shake off your hands and then, heal your aura through your hands, doing these hand exercises where you're smoothing out your aura. And you can do this through your whole body, where you're giving healing energy to yourself. The hands have a magnetic field. When you go like this, you can feel, the energy. You can feel a magnetism there. So if you've received too much of this energy that has been really toxic, deleterious, dangerous, lethal, toxic, not your energy. This energy is not yours. This self-destructive energy, the human being is designed to be, its own entity. You are a separate individual. It is not always, there is a we nature in relationships, but you have to have an I am. You have to have an I feel, I comprehend, I experience, and I am good, I am truthful, I am intelligent, I am picking up something here, I am trusting myself on this one here. I am acknowledging and validating myself on this one here. Okay? I am aware of this here. I'm acknowledging my essence here. I'm acknowledging my internal guiding system here. I'm really acknowledging and validating and supporting my own internal guiding system here. I'm picking up on something real. I'm picking up on something valid here. I am acknowledging and validating this. And I need to heed this now. Even though I lived in denial before, I need to heed this now. And one of the most important things that I heed is, one of the most important things that I acknowledge is, one of the most important things that I need support on is, one of the most important things that I've been denying, but I can now handle is, one of the most important things that I have denied myself but really need to focus on is, write these things down. What I have really been denied of is, okay, because of this, I have really been living in emotional deprivation by, and then, and furthermore, now that I forgive myself, I can really allow myself to, and fill in the blank. And even though I am met with disapproval by this abuser, it is okay for me to. Even though I've been met by disapproval or sneers or fear of abandonment, my gut is really telling me that, and then fill in the blank. And it is to understand that I need to be and receive in a genuine nature in relationships. I need to be loved for who I am, not for who this person wants me to be to make them look good. The narcissist and the psychopath, they always want unerring obligation and adherence to them. In other words, they want unhearing, unquestioned adherence in compliance with their demands, especially the psychopath. They will create higher risk demands of you. In other words, hyper arouse, and they will get you addicted to this hyper arousal. It is to understand the nature of addiction, which is hyper arousal. It's really jacking up the system for excitement and fear. Sort of, in other words, I'm going to push the envelope. I'm going to push the boundary, and I'm going to see how you react. In other words, they're, taking it, pushing even more, pushing you even more. In other words, you're calling for a reality check, not here, not now. It's this, pushing the fear, pushing the arousal, pushing fear and pleasure at the same time. It's this high risk behavior. It's like those individuals who want to jump out of the adrenaline junkie. You've heard the term. They want to jump out of an airplane or whatever it is with a parachute, and it's like fear and excitement. So they get addicted to the adrenaline. This can also go hand in hand with breaking the law. People who drive the fast cars and, who push the speed limit. It's, the exhilaration of breaking the law and doing whatever it is that they want. They feel above the law, and they, want to, pay off police or do whatever it is that makes them feel better than. And so realize that the narcissist and the psychopath, by virtue of their pathological sense of self-importance and the way that their brain wires and fires, they feel that they are not, that they don't have to comply with the demands of others, or they can be really put others in an uncomfortable position, answering the door for the air condition, repair guy in their underwear, just really like, this is not appropriate, but because they're of this, well, I'm a musician, or I have the money, or I'm a this, or I'm a business owner, I can do this, even though it would make others uncomfortable. They are, because of this pathological self-importance, they can feel that they can get away with this boundary violation and exploit others. It is when you are exploited, taken advantage of, and this is really an important understanding that this is a huge red flag, and it's a huge trait and a huge area for you to understand that you do not ever need to be exploited to maintain a relationship. You don't need to be made to feel uncomfortable. You don't need to have someone violate your boundaries in order to be valuable. Oftentimes people who are played on by their self-esteem, who have very little self-esteem, feel that in order to be a person of value, they must allow this to continue. They allow themselves to be in these unsavory positions. They, have to go to these lengths in order to be a person who is, in a relationship and be, seen as important. So it's a real paradox. And it's very ironic that you must devalue yourself in order to be of value to another. So really pay attention to that dynamic and begin to correct it. State, I don't need to sacrifice myself in order to be a person of value. I can, I am, and I will change this. I am changing this feeling now. I don't need to self-denigrate, self-deny, and self-sabotage and abandon my values and my respect to be seen as a person of value. I don't need to go to those lengths. I can instead attract into my reality people who value me and respect me for who I am, without having to impress, without having to self-deny, without having to give and give and give. So you will need to get comfortable with yourself and this new dynamic, and chances are you are not going to experience this changes with the narcissist. You're going to attract to your reality different types of people, or different people who will exemplify and give you this unconditional love. And you will maybe feel threatened that you cannot succeed, that you will not be valued, that this won't be worked out. You might feel threatened by functional relationships because you've never experienced it. But that is what the recovery date is all about. It's going out and taking yourself out and allowing your true authentic self that is healed and deserving with boundaries and standards to have that go out and interact with the natural world. That includes sometimes people, not as going out on the recovery date with you, but sometimes exchanges or glances or conversation that is on that healed level. So giving compliments and then having someone say thank you, or someone complimenting you and you say thank you. Going out and adoring, a couple that's truly in love and saying you guys are the cutest couple, and then having them, say thank you, or asking questions, of this healthy couple and say, when did you first met? How do you know it was meant to be? What do you have planned? So, engaging in that healed, perspective. And so acknowledging and validating what healed and whole is. So going out with that, now that you've, this is advanced material, but you need to go out and do this while you're growing into that. And calling, the BS where it is, and not being afraid to call it out. And then saying, this is how I deserve to feel. This is how I deserve to be treated. This is how I deserve to communicate. This is how I deserve to receive and be received. So it is very important that you then get that out of your energetic fields. Do the shake off. Try this now. See how good it feels to shake off that toxicity and that lack of respect. And keep these enforced for yourself. Keep the recovery date. Keep the recovery journal. Keep the astromations. Keep these going this week. And see how that these tools, as they come together, they really help create the healed experience. And watch how the earth, the universe, the experience of energy then works to deliver on that healed and whole level, and see how you love it. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. I hope that these videos do help.